Hey guys, this is Red Shadow, and welcome back to part 2 of the December 2023 to April 2024 Pickups video games. And in this particular video, I'm doing the limited run, limited print company games that I picked up over the last 5 months. I've got stuff from Limited Run. I've got stuff from I Am 8-Bit. I believe this first one is I Am 8-Bit, yes. I've got stuff from Red Art Games, I've got Super Rare Games, and I've got the first game produced from a newer company called Limited Legacy. So another company, new company on the block that's doing the whole limited print style stuff. So I'll show that one in here as well. But let's go ahead and get started with the I Am 8-Bit game that I picked up. And this is a game called Behind the Frame. This is there've been a rash of games that have come out, and I've ordered them, and then somewhere along the lines, the company in question sends an email and says, "Oh, sorry, it's going to be delayed," and I'm like, I always expect these games to take a long time anyway. So thanks for letting me know, but to a certain degree, I'm one of those folks who orders it and then kind of kicks back and forgets, and then when it shows up or when the emails come in, it's been shipped. I'm like, hey, cool, that's a nice, pleasant surprise. So this Behind the Frame game, as far as I know, is just a narrative style game. It says vivid interactive fiction about an aspiring artist on the cusp of finishing the final piece of her gallery submission. It's a relatively short experience, and it's just one of those kind of, heartwarming tales of, well, in this case, this artist. Relaxing, eloquent experience that can be played at any pace, immersed in a panoramic world filled with colors due to the artwork theme. So, yeah, just something that looked good to me, so I went ahead and picked that up. And that was my only thing that came in from I Am 8-Bit. Next couple of games are Red Art Games. So, the first thing I've got here is what's called Light Fairy Tale Episode 1. And so this is basically a JRPG style game, kind of patterned off of things like Final Fantasy VII and sort of those late 90s Square style JRPGs. But these are very short. These are only probably less than 10 hours to get through each of the episodes. And I saw episode 1 when it first came up on Red Art, and I was very intrigued to get it. I don't remember exactly what happened that I didn't snag it at the time that it first dropped. But then Light Fairy Tale Episode 2 was listed as being ready to be pre-ordered. And they had a special where each of these was $30. And honestly, yes, that's quite a bit of money for a less than 10 hour long JRPG, But it's just, it's the mere fact that they're physical. There's going to be 4 episodes, so there'll be 4 total of these altogether, and that'll make a lengthy enough video game, but it will be more expensive than if it had just been in one disc with all of it on the thing. And I realize that that's kind of, not optimal, but hey, I like to buy these kinds of things. Like I said, I like to have games like this on the shelf. So when episode 2 was listed on Red Art's game site, they offered a discount if you pre-ordered 2 and got a copy of 1 on the same order. So I saved a little bit going that route, and I'm just excited to see what these will be like. When I heard that they were taking a lot of inspiration from the visual style and sort of the thematic elements of games like Final Fantasy VII, I was pretty much down with just that. And that's from Nico Works, and on their website That's where I found out that they're going to do episodes 3 and 4 to finish off this story. But they also have other games listed, including something called Dark Fairy Tale. So I'm interested to see what kind of output that this company has. And they're releasing through someone like Red Art is awesome because, like I said, then I get to buy it and have it on my shelf. All right, and then I've got one last one here from Red Art Games. And this is a game called Promenade, and this is the deluxe edition. Now, the deluxe edition and standard edition for this and a few other games on Red Art, as far as I remember, were all the same price. Obviously, a limited quantity of the deluxe editions, but I think the standard edition still has this cardboard slipcase on it. If there's anything that the standard doesn't have that the deluxe edition does have, is the original soundtrack, and that's nice, especially because this has got 38 songs on it, so that's quite a bit. This is a pretty cute and colorful little action platformer style game. It just looked too good. When I watched the trailers for it, I was down the moment that I saw them. There's something else that you get with it too. It's a little sheet of stickers. But yeah, this one was just a matter of seeing the artistic style and the gameplay, and that was enough to pull me in for that one. All right, and then the next 3 games are from Super Rare Games. Excuse me. Super Rare Games was never really on my radar because for the longest time they only did Switch titles. So great for Switch owners and Switch enthusiasts, but I'm neither one of those at this moment. So I watched a lot of really cool games go to Switch through Super Rare Games that I would have loved on PlayStation. Not that all of them would have been available on PlayStation. But finally, last year, they finally started to do PS4 releases. And so I just kept watching to see what they were going to put out. And they finally did one that I was ready and set to pick up. And then, of course, like the dominoes, that led me to another one and then another one, and I picked up these 3. So this isn't every PS4 game that they've done. There's a few that just didn't interest me at all. But I did pick up, first of all, this game here called The Tourist. This looks like, it has a very like voxel style look. 3D Dot Game Heroes comes to mind a little bit. It's a very interesting game style to it, and this doesn't really give me much on the back here. It says you're just arriving at the Monument Islands, want to go swimming, take a dive in the deep sea, visit an amusement arcade, go shopping, dance, eat. What does it say? Dance at the beach party, fancy some surfing, talk to a strange old tourist and listen to what he has to say about these ancient, mysterious monuments, ? And then that's it. So it looks like it's going to be sort of like a little adventure-style game and an option to sort of tool around and do this and that. And once I actually looked at some gameplay footage for it, I was sold. Originally, I looked at it and I just didn't think it was going to be my thing, but that's what I get for judging a book by its cover, so to speak. Alright, so after I'm going to show the first Super Rare game that I got from them last, but after I ordered that one, I saw this one. Now, this was a game I had heard of before. It's called A Short Hike. It's been a pretty popular indie game for a couple of years, and people were pretty excited about it. And I didn't really take notice, though, until this physical came out. And then I went to take a look at it, and I thought, oh, this looks cool. Looks like a cute, colorful animal character. Walking simulator was what I thought it was going to be like a Gone Home or What Remains of Edith Finch. Just follow this little, I believe they were supposed to be a penguin. Or just a bird of some sort. Just follow them on a little short hike and, learn about them and their story. And, just kind of go on the journey. And actually this game is a bit more of a small but open world of an island that you are taking a short hike on, but there's a lot more to it than just walk and digest the story. There's, collecting items and doing little missions for the people who are all around this island with you, until you do eventually get to where you're trying to go. And it was pretty good, and I will talk more about this one in a video of its own, but I did like it quite a bit, and it was, in my opinion, it was worth picking up the physical. All these super rare games, I should point out, have the nice little cardboard slip covers, so it's always appreciated. And now we've got the super rare games that started it for me. The first thing that I saw from them for PS4 that I was into, and that is a game here called The Tartarus Key. So this game surprised me, and I also was misled, but nobody misled me. I looked at the footage and read some stuff about it, and I thought it was a little bit different than what it ended up being. I thought it was just a first-person PS1 graphical style horror game set in this spooky mansion, and it actually wasn't 100% a horror game. Now, it still has the PS1 style graphics to it, but it was more of an escape room type thing. Every room or every area you go into, you have to try to figure out how to solve the puzzles, and in some situations escape an area before you end up dying or hurting somebody else in your attempt to escape. It ended up being really, really good. Once again, this will be a game I'll talk about in its own separate video, because I've played and beat this one, but I would recommend it. At least take a look at it. Okay, so here is the first game from Limited Legacy Games. Now, it's not the first game they had for sale on their website. They have some other game that's a little overpriced, in my opinion, in the $60 to $70 range, but they're hyping it up as being some hot shit, special edition style game. But in the meantime, this particular game, called Boxville, was put up to pre-order as well, and this has become the first one that they actually got produced and distributed out to buyers like myself. So this is a game / animated movie, and apparently you can either watch the animated movie in its entirety by itself without playing anything, or you can choose to play the game where you'll watch parts of the movie along the way. So I thought it looked interesting, just a story about like cans and boxes and whatever. It says, traverse a city bursting with life where even soda cans have tales to tell. Just interesting stuff. All of these limited companies, if they put out something that I look like I would play it and have some sort of fun with it, then I'm down. I won't buy just something that's because it's limited. I want something that I will actually play, and this was definitely something that fit that mold. So that's Boxville from Limited Legacy. Limited Legacy has already listed up their next game for pre-order, and it's sort of a beat-em-up game, and it didn't do much for me, so I'm passing on that one. But if Limited Legacy sounds something appealing, go check that out and see what that next game is all about. Alright, and in this last stack, this is 6 games. These are all of my limited run games, the actual limited run company. These are the games that I picked up from them. So the first thing I have here is the Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol, like double pack. These are some games from like Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis era, like actual games that came from that time frame, and Limited Run was able to secure, this kind of a deal, I think because of the use of their Carbon engine or whatever. I wanted to get this when it first went up for pre-order, and then I thought, man, this game has a bit of a reputation for being very difficult, and why would I want to put myself through such a thing? And so I ended up passing on it originally. And then they did a sale, not their normal yearly sale that was, that would normally have been in January. That's actually been pushed back to later on this month in May. But they did a sale for a bunch of games that were going to get delisted, I guess, from the digital stores. And so they had to clear out their inventory, or so the story goes. And they were doing a sale where on the first day it was like, these are all the games that are going away, they're regular price, do you want to buy them? Then the next day they marked them down by like 10%. And then the day after that they marked them to 20%. And the day after that, until they got to like 50% off. And that's where I managed to score one of these. So I think I paid somewhere in the $15 or $16 range for this. For that deal, I couldn't pass on it. Everything else that was a part of that sale, I either already had or I had no interest in. There may have been a title or two that was already sold out, but I was pretty happy just being able to grab this for retro sake and being able to have games that I knew about back in the day but never played. But if they really do kick my ass like I expect it to do, I probably won't play them very much. Alright, now speaking of retro games and games that I didn't play back in the day, even though I was vaguely familiar with this game. It came out in 1993. It's kind of almost a precursor to FMV games because it's a point and click and make dialogue choices and all that kind of stuff, but there isn't any actual full motion video in it. It's all still pictures. Oh, and by the way, it also has the reputation of being quote-unquote the worst video game of all time. It's Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, the definitive edition as done by only Limited Run could do. So, yeah, this game has got a reputation for being bad. The reason for that is the voice acting is kind of wooden and stilted. The dialogue itself was not written very well. The story is corny as hell. It's got some TNA that is pretty much just there to be TNA. It's something. And as far as I was concerned, it's the idea of getting to play the game that I've heard so much about for years. Now, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, you must have heard of this game because of Angry Video Game Nerd. No, I just think I remember hearing about it here and there, maybe even reading about it in magazines. I think its reputation preceded itself before a YouTuber like AVGN got a hold of it. I've never watched his video. But what's cool about this is there's a ton of stuff, work done, documentary style stuff done for this that includes interviews from AVGN and interviews from other people that I've followed for years, like Jared Petty, who was from IGN, Kelsey Lewin from the Video Game History Foundation, and who was a part of Metal Jesus Rock's crew for years. There's a lot of cool stuff to find in this. There's a sort of dungeon crawling style game in this where you walk around in these corridors and you get chased by the boss man from this game, and you'll walk into these little things and pick up, and now you have another video clip to watch. It was pretty fun. I'll try to talk about that more in a video I'll do for this one, because this is another one that I've already played since I picked it up. It's something. It's a game that I don't aspire to playing again anytime soon, but I'm glad that I did have my chance to experience it. Okay, so next up I have a game here that's called Another Crusade, and this is another limited run game that was shown at one of their E3 style events. I think it was the one from last year, and I don't know if, especially with glare and all that, I don't know if you'll be able to tell from any of the screenshots on this, but this game takes a lot of inspiration from a game like Super Mario RPG. So the same isometric battle screens and the same battle combat as Super Mario RPG, I think, even comes down to the whole pressing the button at the right time to increase the attack. When you go to attack an enemy, if you press the button at the right time, it'll give you more damage. That was the thing that I always found so much fun about Super Mario RPG, and it stuck with me so much that for years in turn-based RPGs, I was pressing the button at that specific right time to try to do more damage, even though it wasn't working in every game. I just had it in my head that all games were doing that. So I wanted to get this because I don't have a Switch, so I can't play the Super Mario RPG remake, but I can have something similar to it on PS4. Unfortunately, by the time I got this in, I started to read reviews that were saying it wasn't all that great, but I don't let myself be... I don't let my decisions be made by reviews. I do let them inform me into what people's thoughts are, but if I'm still wanting to play a game, I'll still get and play a game. Alright, coming on to the last 3 games here. The next one we have here is Quake 2. So, I got Quake a year or 2 ago from Limited Run. I think it's been a couple of years at this point. As I mentioned in the previous video, when it comes to like the boomer shooter concept, those old Doom games and Quake and whatnot, I got to play Doom, but I never did get to play the Quake games. So I did sample Quake 1 when I got the limited run version of it, but I didn't get to beat it. But I'm glad that they've done the second one here, and if they want to do any more of these, I'm definitely on board with that. And speaking of, well, both of these last 2 games are also like Quake 2. They're old games being re-released on the PS4, and I'm here for it. This is Gargoyles Remastered. This is another old, like 16-bit game, and I remember the show. I didn't really ever watch it. I remember this game, but I never played it. But when they showed that they were going to bring this back, remastered for modern consoles, I was like, yeah, I'll check this out. It can't be a situation that's worse for myself than the Disney Classics collection, which were old games that were very, very hard, and I played and sampled through them one time, and I was like, yep, that's all I needed out of this. This one here may be one of those. This is also another one where I've heard some poor reviews for it, but I like that games like this will have the original art and aesthetic and gameplay, but then they also have remastered controls and whatnot. I think that's one of these it does. I think this one does it, where I can be playing the original version and press a button, and then it's a remastered version of it. I think that's the case in this one. Remastered obviously means it's going to be newer visuals and controls. I just don't know if the press the button on the fly thing is actually true. So don't take my word 100% on that one. Okay, and then the last thing that I have to show here is Persona 3 Portable for PS4. So the Persona JRPG series has been around for a long time. I remember on PS1 there was Persona 1 and 2, and I really paid them no mind because they didn't look interesting to me at all. I think it was getting into PS2 era that they became a little bit more colorful. They became a little bit more focused on the characters and the personalities, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe the first 2 were like that. But they didn't really pop and catch my eye until Persona 3. And I even own it on PS2. I just never have played it. And then all of a sudden, well, there was the PS3 or Persona 3 Reload, so it was an actual remake of this game. And I want to get that. I want to own that version and this version. But Persona 3 came out on PS2, and then Persona 3 Portable was on the PSP. And this is basically the portable version, the PSP version, but done up for the PS4. So I just want to be able to basically just play Persona 3, 4, and 5, which I own and I have started to play, but I never did finish it. So Persona 4 got a treatment like this for PS4, what's called Persona 4 Golden, which was also the portable version, I believe, for the PS Vita. That pre-order went up about a month or a couple weeks to a month after this one did, and I pre-ordered them both, separate orders of course, but I ordered a 2-pack cardboard like slipcover, you know, with showing both games on it, so that I could put this and Persona 4 into it, and then they'll sit on the shelf in a 2-pack. But the slipcase, of all things, a cardboard slipcase with art and design on it, is going to take close to like August or September to be finished before I'll see that and Persona 4. So I'm a little bit bummed. There's some people who already have their P4 Golden in hand, but I've got to wait due to the slipcase. But then again, I'm not disappointed in getting the slipcase. I wanted to get it, and I'm not going to play these games anytime really soon, so I don't know why I'm worried about it. But it did bother me a little bit to see other people have their games. But that's neither here nor there. That's the rest of my pickups from the last 5 months. So I'm glad to have finally sat down and done both of these videos. If you liked it, I hope you enjoyed seeing these games, and I hope you maybe saw something that would be of interest. And I guess, fingers crossed, the YouTube stuff and my editing stuff will remain faithful for me, or not faithful, but it'll work for me the way that it has been, and I'll be able to actually do just a May pickups video. So anyway, yada yada yada. That's it for that. I'll see you guys in the next video.